Hey, what's happening, guys? I hope you're all fantastic out there. Thank you as always for stopping by the channel. This is my review of The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. This is the third film in the franchise. It has by far the longest title, and all third entries in horror franchises are awesome, right? So let's get into the good, the not so good, and everything in between to see what this movie delivers. Now, in my opinion, the first two Conjuring flicks were just well-crafted haunted house thrillers from top to bottom, despite both being very much the same. I think each was still able to just stand on their own to tell a terrifying tale of demonic possession. This third movie was actually much different. Some may not like that, but I actually did. I think it was cool to kind of see a story in this series that was truly able to step out of the confines of a sinister home. There are more locations, a wider sweeping plot, there are a lot more moving pieces to the storyline overall, and while it may have hindered the traditional tone of horror that these movies are really known for, I gotta say I still had a good time, and I felt that the more suspenseful theme narrative here was plenty enough to sink my teeth into and get invested with a lot of appealing characters. The story here centers on this teenage kid who killed a man while under the influence of a demonic possession. This is something that hasn't been tried as a defense in the state's court system, and this is where Ed and Lorraine are called in. The Warrens' task here is to kind of study the lines between the case, run their own research, and if possible, prove this seemingly normal young man was in fact under the influence of a demonic entity when he did what he did. And I mean, we've seen the Warrens in action before, but they weren't always the primary focus of what I consider to be their franchise. Usually the afflicted family or the entity itself have always been the star of the films, with the Warrens sort of just being the glue to everything. Which is what I really liked about this movie. Here we get to see them much more in action, diving deeper into this case. I really enjoyed seeing their investigative techniques, and Farmiga and Wilson have always been fantastic in these roles, and they were once again here. So getting more screen time with this couple to see more of the bond between them, see more of their methods and their compassion for their subjects was just naturally compelling to watch. The rapport overall between Farmiga and Wilson in these characters, as it always has been, felt very sincere, which gave this movie a surprising amount of heart. I think the first two Conjuring movies also had a strong, endearing, emotional quality to them for being horror flicks, and this third entry in the franchise was no different. And I will admit the story may have had some pacing issues during the middle act. I will admit it wasn't as traditionally scary as the first two, but it tried something different, and I appreciate that. I feel a third movie centering on the haunted house, demonic entity routine would have just felt stale, so where this movie lacked in terror, I think it made up for it with effective tension, strong eeriness, and the explored love between Ed and Lorraine Warren. The movie was missing just some of the setups for the horror moments that really made them land in the first two films, but there still is plenty of stuff to have fun with here. Plus, there are some frightening moments that do land effectively. There are some very intense sequences as well that will have you up on edge, and that's what you want in these types of movies. But along with that are some sequences that feel a bit slapped on as well, but I would say overall it does have its spots of effective, sinister appeal. It has a great opening sequence that gets the heart rate going for sure, and I think it does a good job of paving the way for a truly interesting case. I think it could have been a little bit more creative in its path of progression. The musical scoring wasn't as imposing as I was hoping it would be. The direction also felt a bit conventional, and the elegant directorial eye of James Wan was missing here, but it's still a wildly dark ride. The performances were, as usual, very capable, and it may be the weakest entry in the series. However, that doesn't mean it's a weak film overall. because I think the bar was just set pretty high with the first two films, and this one does come close, so I'll give The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It a solid 75%. I really enjoyed seeing Farmiga and Wilson back in these characters. I loved their chemistry together. I loved getting to see just more of their paranormal tactics, and the case of this young man was interesting enough to lay the groundwork for some fun, enjoyable, horror-filled set pieces. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I'd love to talk movies with you guys. Share it with your friends, and without question, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can never miss a video. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. All my social media links and the link to our official website are down in the description below, and I'll catch you next time.